Hey, good morning. It's Tim Shurr calling. Back in the car. It's Saturday morning, so happy Saturday. Hope you're having a great day. I have been running my kids around all over the place. So if you got kids, you know that Saturdays and Sundays you spend most of the time running them all over. And so one had some tennis thing going on, and the other is tech hounds building robots. So I'm running them all over the place. And but that means that I had a few minutes to jump on here. It's actually daylight. First time I'm doing one of these videos where it's daylight. But I had a few minutes to jump on here and tell you about something that I hear a lot. A lot of times people call up and they either aren't sure if they should do one of our programs or one of our classes, or they just signed up and then they get scared, right? They're like, oh my gosh, because remember, when there's three phases of a breakthrough. Phase one is resistance, right? We get cold feet, we get scared, we start to step in, and then we pull back and we're like, oh, what if it doesn't work? And what if it doesn't work for me? I know it's worked for tens of thousands of other people, but me, what if it doesn't work for me? Right? Because we all think that somehow we're different and what we're doing is different. And I gotta tell you, it's not. Human beings have the same kind of software and the same kind of computer in our head, right? Our brain and our emotions and our way we think. And so, you know, there might be little variations, but pretty much we're the same. And so we have the same types of hopes and dreams and the same types of worries and fears. And yet when it comes to making a change or a breakthrough in our life, we often will think that somehow we're special in this way, that it's not going to work for us. And that, of course, is just one of the lies, right? And so I'm going to tell you a little story. It's if you feel like I'm talking about you, you know, a lot of times people will say, what are you looking in my windows? Right? It's because this is so common for everybody, right? But someone will call up and they'll say, hey, I really need this. I'm in a really hard place. I've been struggling for a long time. I need to do this, but nothing else has worked for me, and I've tried everything, and no matter what I do, it just seems like, you know, it doesn't work out. And, you know, I've heard about your program, or I've heard your testimonials, or what you're saying. I've watched your videos on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, and it makes so much sense what you're saying about changing the head part, about upgrading your mindset, about improving the way that you think about things, or your beliefs, because your beliefs are driving behavior. That all makes sense to me. And yet I'm still too scared that it's not going to work for me, or I'm too stubborn, you know, I'm too stuck in my old ways, right? Or I've been doing this for 50 years or 60 years and I'm not so sure I can change. You know, that old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, which is false. You can, with the right motivation. And so and I tell people the same time, or the same thing every time. You can change, it can happen quickly, and it's just a matter of taking you through some processes or some experiences that you have never had before, right? Sometimes people say, should I prepare? And I'm like, you can't prepare for what we're gonna do, because it's so powerful, it's so extraordinary, it's so relaxing, it's so emotionally cleansing, right? And so sometimes I'll say it's just magical, and then people will be like, well, what do you mean by magic, right? Is it some kind of spell? Are you gonna take over my mind? Is this gonna change my personality in other ways? Are you gonna be able to control me? And it's just so much fear, right? So much fear. People are like, am I gonna be out of control if we do this? I'm like, you're already out of control. You're already telling me that you don't like your life the way that it is, and you're trying to change it and it's not working. That's already you being out of control, right? So what we do puts you in control. It actually makes you feel more confident, more relaxed, more in control. It gives you the power and the resources that you feel are missing in your life. And it's not that it's missing, it's just you haven't connected with the magic and the power that's inside of you. That's all it is. You haven't connected with it yet. So I just got a glimpse of myself in this video, and it looks like I got a little poof of hair there. Saturday morning hair. I don't care. So anyway, so Let me explain what happens in session 1 when I'm working with somebody, whether we're doing our upcoming magical weight loss and inner peace program that's happening in February 2020, or maybe you're seeing this video and we're way past that and you missed that class, and that's okay. We'll have other ones coming up. Or people will come in and they do private one-on-one sessions. Doesn't even matter what they come in for. Session 1 is almost always the same. I help people recognize that you've got two parts of your mind, your conscious and your unconscious. Your conscious mind is your analytical thinking part of you, the part that's listening to me right now, that's taking in what I'm saying and trying to figure out if it makes sense, if you agree with it or not. And then there's this other part of you, your unconscious mind. And it runs programs. It keeps your body running, right? Keeps your heart beating, keeps you breathing without you having to think about it. But it also is like a program, a computer that runs programs, that runs software programs. And your software programs are your beliefs, right? The beliefs about whether you can achieve goals or not. The beliefs about whether relationships are happy or full of stress. Your beliefs about money, whether you deserve money and money is good, or you don't deserve money and money is the root of all evil. It holds beliefs about how the world is. Is the world safe? Is it a school? Is it scary? Is it dangerous? Is it trusting? Is it valuable? Is it a pain in the butt and something you have to survive through? You know, your beliefs determine what you pay attention to and what you focus on. And most people focus on their conscious mind. They focus on going to therapy or counseling and using cognitive behavioral approaches, which is just reframing and trying to be positive and proactive, which is wonderful. But if you don't upgrade the beliefs that were driving the fearful thoughts, then all the positive thinking in the world won't work, which is why a lot of times counseling doesn't work. People will go for years and not really get any better. And so I was trained in all those skills. I had all the cognitive behavioral therapy and rational emotive, therapy and RET and by Albert Ellis and Carl Rogers, humanitarian approach, and Freud and Jung and their psychoanalysis, which is a really long, outdated approach to use, and then all the other ones that are out there, and the personality assessments, the Myers-Briggs, the DISC, even the Rorschach, I think that's how you say it, Rorschach ink block test, all those things that nobody even uses anymore. But I got training in all of that stuff. Draw a tree, draw a house, right? Draw your family. And then I was trained to interpret how you drew those pictures, right? Whether your tree had branches or if it was just a long, trunk, if it had a hole in it or not. Your house, did you draw windows? Was there a doorknob? Did you draw windows that looked like there was bars on there? All these ways we were supposed to try to figure people out. Well, guess what? After 30 years of studying all the different strategies and therapeutic approaches out there, I have found that the best way to figure out what's going on is to use a little hypnosis, go into people's unconscious minds and find the beliefs that are driving the behavior. That is simple, easy, fast, relaxing, empowering, emotionally energizing, and it leaves people feeling like something transformational just occurred, as opposed to, okay, I talked about bad things that happened, I'm upset about it because I had to relive it again, and I guess we're going to do it next week too, and then next week, and then forever. Yuck. Right? I get so frustrated when clients will come in and they'll tell me these stories about what they're doing or who they went to for help and the things that they were doing. I'm like, why would you do that? And they'll be like, I know, I thought it was wrong, but I'm not the expert. It didn't feel right, but I'm going to someone for help, and I'm like, oh, it's the whole field, the whole profession of counseling needs a big upgrade. And Tony Robbins has been a valuable asset and resource when it comes to helping to make that happen. Because he's been talking about we need to use more neurolinguistic programming, or what he calls neuroassociative conditioning, which is just his way of calling it that. So the camps at NLP, Bandler, and Grinder quit suing him. So the guys who formed neurolinguistic programming back in the 70s. So anyway, I digress. What I want you to know is that when we do first session number 1, what we do is people get relaxed. They get very relaxed, right? Because your mind relaxes when you're in a peaceful state of mind. It allows you to gain access to the memory bank in your brain. And then what we do is we try to find that presenting feeling that people come in with, So a lot of people come in because they have anxiety. And so, all right, first I'm going to get you relaxed so that you are more resourceful and you feel good. We're going to recharge your batteries, because most people are walking around with so much stress and so much tension that they just don't even know how to let it go. They might get a massage, but as soon as they walk out of the massage center and their phone rings, they're all stressed out again, right? Or they'll take CBD oil or smoke some pot, or eat a bunch of junk food, or drink a box of wine, or smoke a bunch of cigarettes, and then they just end up feeling worse. So what do? Right? Even taking a yoga class is wonderful while you're taking it. But then often, because we're not shifting beliefs, all that stress, we just kind of fill back up with it. Not just because of what's going on around us, but because of how we're interpreting it and what's going on inside of us because of those beliefs. So what do we do in that situation? Well, I'll tell you what we do in that situation. We get you really relaxed, we recharge your batteries, and then, so it's kind of like a massage for your mind, so we restore your willpower to 100%, and then we find that belief, we find that feeling that brought you in, right? So tension, anxiety, a worry, a fear, biting nails, trying to lose weight, smoking. It doesn't really, I don't actually do this for the smoking. I've got other techniques that work so well that I don't have to go find the beliefs of why you started smoking. We don't really need to do that unless someone, we've gone through the couple of sessions and they haven't quit, which 95% of the time people do. But for that small percentage of time where people haven't let go of their cigarettes, it's because there's a belief, what we call a secondary benefit. There's some other hidden payoff, and people think that unconsciously that having those cigarettes is giving them that payoff, right? Usually it's a sense of control. I feel like everything else in my life is out of control, so when I reach for that cigarette, then I feel in control. Even though at some level it feels like I'm out of control, or it's an addiction, or it's hurting my health, it still makes me feel like I'm somehow I can pick this up, I can light it, I can breathe it in, I know what to expect. I feel like it's giving me a level of control, a level of certainty. It's meeting my psychological needs, right? And so that's why they don't let it go. So then we have to go figure out what the belief is. And so we'll find the feeling that comes up, that feeling of fear or being out of control, and then we follow it back to a situation or an event that has occurred that, and that's when the belief got formed, right? So we're talking about cigarettes, and let's just say, they're 60 now, and they have COPD, or they have emphysema, and they need to stop smoking, but they won't let go of those cigarettes. And then we go back and we discover that something really traumatic happened. Maybe they had a divorce when they were younger, or people were abused in some way, physically, emotionally, sexually, in some way, and then all of a sudden they grab for that cigarette, and then it made them feel better in that moment. And now their brain says that literally, when I smoke, I'm surviving. It's how I stay safe. It's how I survive. If you have a belief in your mind that if you don't do something, you're going to die, then you'll do it, right? You got 100% commitment and motivation. Even though it can get confused in our mind, because the thing that we're telling us if we don't do it, we're going to die, is the thing that's killing us. It's the thing that's robbing us of our happiness, our joy, and our health. So that's why we've got to go in and straighten it out, because your unconscious mind isn't logical. That's the realm of your conscious mind. Your unconscious mind doesn't care what's rational, what's irrational, what's good or bad, right or wrong. It runs programs. That's all it does. Like my laptop, it does not care if I run QuickBooks, accounting software, or if I play solitaire. It doesn't matter. It runs the program. And so that's what your brain's doing. And so what we need to do is go take the emotion, let it take us back to the experience that the belief was formed in, and then upgrade the belief and empower you in that experience in a new way, give you what you really need. What most people look for is a distraction, a way out, a dissociation. What we need is to give you more powerful coping skills and life skills, maturity skills, peak performance skills in that moment, so that you're able to rise up and take charge so that you feel loved, accepted, safe, protected, supported, encouraged, so that you have more wisdom. You know, a lot of things that happen to us that set our beliefs happen when we were little. You know, they say that most of the schemas or life's about rules of life that we have in our mind were formed by the time we were 8 years old, like 80% of them by the time we're 8. And so would you want an 8-year-old controlling your life and controlling your finances and your relationships and your health and all that, or what you eat? No way, right? I wouldn't want an 8-year-old controlling what I eat. All I eat is junk all day and then end up with type 2 diabetes. So, but that's what happens. And so that's why we have to be careful and cautious. And we've got to go back and we've got to take the part of us, the older, wiser, more mature part of us that has all this experience, and we go back in time with what we now know, and we, you know, reparent or rescue or heal or explain or support or educate or just love on that little girl or boy that you once were, and then find out what the new belief is we'd rather believe, and then we upgrade it. And that is transformational. It is powerful. It is magical. And then I put some post-hypnotic suggestions, which are just simple ideas that you would want to do after the session, so that it's kind of in your mind. That's all commercials are. You know, you watch a TV commercial and they show you some food or, you know, something, right, that the product, and they're trying to emotionally get you to take action on it. And then afterwards you're in the grocery store and you see that product and you get those feelings that they anchored into you from watching the TV commercial, and you're like, oh, let me try it. And then you put it in your cart, and then success, right? You've carried out the commercial's post-hypnotic suggestion. Well, we have all kinds of post-hypnotic suggestions in our brain. When you wake up in the morning, you give yourself a post-hypnotic suggestion. You wake up, and what do you tell yourself about the day? Oh, it's going to be another one of those days. Today's going to suck, right? Or, oh, I got a full brand new day, a brand new slate. I'm going to make it awesome, right? Today's going to be fun. Today something magical is going to happen, right? Today I'm going to experience a miracle. Wayne Dyer used to say, you know, you can get up in the morning and you can say, good God morning, or you can say, good morning God, right? And that post-hypnotic suggestion you give to yourself is going to alter and influence what your unconscious mind pays attention to during the day, which will heavily influence how you feel. It's not what shows up. It's, say it with me, how you show up, right? It's not what shows up, it's how you show up. It's not what shows up, it's how I show up, right? I'm owning it. It's how I show up. It's not what shows up, it's how I show up, right? And so, anyway, so we want to make sure that that we're recognizing that if you are stubborn when it comes to achieving your goals, let's use that to your advantage, okay? So, yeah, I give people post-hypnotic suggestions, and then they open their eyes, because usually I'll have them close their eyes and go within, because when you learn to go within, you never go without. And so I will share that with people, and then I don't analyze what we just did. I'll just say, how you feeling? Good? You know, and put that suggestion in there, and they're like, yeah, I feel really rested, or why was I crying the whole time, you know, or whatever else people will say. And I'll say, because you were connecting, you know, and it was real and powerful, and they're like, wow, that was amazing. I can't even believe it. And they go through all kinds of different things, but it's so empowering, and then their whole week was better. You know, I'll see them in session 2, and their whole week has been better. More confidence, happier, more relaxed, more peaceful, more playful, more joyful. All kinds of magical things happen. And of course, that's just step 1. And that's all I want to talk about in the video now is what happens with that first step and how powerful it is. Because you're upgrading a deep-rooted belief, and that shifts your paradigm. It shifts the way that you focus on things, and that changes everything. And then what happens from there is just we continue the journey. So if you think you're too stubborn, I want you to know that we can use that stubbornness to your advantage. If you think you can't do it, then think of it this way, okay? What is the part of you that keeps you doing what you're doing that you're unhappy about? What is it inside of you that's causing you to continually overeat or continually sabotage your business or your money, or that sabotages your relationship or that sabotages your self-confidence, are you really good at negative thinking? Are you really good on focusing on what isn't working? Are you really good at procrastinating? Are you really good at binging? Are you really good at not following through? Well, what part of you makes you that good at it? What part of you makes you follow through in that way? You ever think of it that way? I mean, if you're really good at that, like I was awesome at sabotaging myself, right? I was really good at it. I used to say I had a PhD in it, and I was really good at it. And so you got to wonder, if you're really good at following through in that way, what part of you is causing you to do that? And the answer is your unconscious mind. So, if your unconscious mind is that powerful, if it will cause you to do things that literally is destroying your health, you know, if you are so good at focusing on keeping your body stressed that you have developed lupus, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, migraines, you have these really bad habits, you're a compulsive nail biter, a gambler, or overeater, or smoker, or, you know, taking drugs, or opioids, or, I mean, you name it, right? If you're really, really good at that, don't just think it's a physical thing. There is a giant emotional, psychological component to those habits. And that means your mind is causing you to behave in that way, which means that part of your mind is powerful. Well, why can't you redirect it then? Why can't you just redirect it and give it a new mission? Never thought of it that way before. And the answer is, you can. And I know this 1,000% positively for sure, because I've watched thousands of people go through it. Thousands of people go through it. And these were the same people that were like, I'm too stubborn, I can't do it, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm a weak person, I'm weak-willed, or I'm too strong-willed. You know, all the excuses. I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, you don't know what my parents are like, or my spouse, or my background, or my upbringing, or what I've been through, or how I've been abused, or all that stuff. You don't know what my brain is like, and I'm OCD, or I'm bipolar, I'm, you know, whatever it is. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter, because every single person that said that to me, I've watched have giant breakthroughs right in front of me by going through the stuff I just described. So it doesn't matter what's going on right now, because you have the ability to overcome it, shift it, or redirect it. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. Have someone who is just wonderful. Someone asked me yesterday. She said it was her first session, and she said, "What do we call ourselves? Are we your patients or your clients?" And I said, that's interesting. I tend to think of you as my friends. People call themselves clients. I call you clients, right? But I tend to think of you as my new friends. You know, and she appreciated that. She liked that, right? Because it's more warm. It's not sterile. So when I think of all my friends that have gone through this stuff, you know, I have a friend that's coming in next week and to do a testimonial, and you got to see it, because it's just extraordinary what she came in for, how devastating it's been over the last 6 years, and how after one session it disappeared. I mean, it's like, you know, I was surprised, and I'm used to seeing this. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And we've reinforced it, and it stayed, she stayed healthy. She stayed on the path. It hasn't come back. And it's like, wow. So it's just amazing, which is why I get on here all the time. You know, I don't have to do any of this stuff. I could sit in my office and see clients and go home and hang out with my family and not do any of the extra stuff that I do. And I would have gobs of free time. I would just run my private practice, go home, watch TV, do what other people do. I don't really know what other people do, because I've been writing articles, creating more workshops, running more classes, doing videos, doing blogs, putting together educational courses for, you know, as long as I've been in business. And so that's all I do. I'm sitting here on a Saturday morning in the rain in my car before I go in and watch my son practice with this tennis, and making a video for you. I don't have to do any of this, but I want to because I've seen the results that people get. And if you don't have these tools or this insight, then you'll probably continue to suffer. And that's what happened for me. I had horrible anxiety. I suffered all the time, and I don't want that anymore for anybody because it was horrible. That's my whole mission. My mission is simple. My goal is to end needless suffering, needless emotional suffering. You know, that's my mission. And I've been doing it one person at a time, and now I'm doing it in groups because there's so many people that need this. And I'm going to tell you too, just in case this video is just for you, you know, I'm secretly recruiting people who are having tremendous changes so that they can go out there and share it by example and share the story and help other people to know what's out there, right? Not to promote me, but to know that tools like hypnotism and neurolinguistic programming and other strategies where you're targeting your unconscious beliefs is where it's at. That's where we need to be. We're in the 21st century. Everybody should be focusing on that and not the old ways of doing things, because the old ways of just taking medication and, you know, trying to tough yourself out, or even trying to just do regular old traditional counseling, it just doesn't, it's not cutting it, right? We need to upgrade and do something better. And every time I help somebody and they have these tremendous results, they go tell their friends and their family. And it's like those, do you remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember those old shampoo commercials? We did the shampoo and then it was like the Brady Bunch thing, and I told 2 friends and they told 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on. Now that was a hypnotic suggestion for you to use their shampoo and tell your friends about it. Okay? So, but that's what I'm doing too. I want you to have these life transforming experiences and then go tell your friends and roll them into a new vision, because your friends and your family, they need it too. They're as stressed out and unhealthy and frustrated as anybody else. And if you see all these people on Facebook showing you their perfect lives, they don't have perfect lives. They have as much stress and tension as anybody else. They're just showing you a snapshot because they want you to think of them in that way. Which is why I jump on here and I don't care what my hair looks like. I don't care how I'm dressed. All I care about is getting you the message, right? Because this isn't about me, this is about you. And then when you have this transformation, then you can share that, and it won't be about you, it'll be about helping somebody else. And then we have this beautiful worldwide transformation. That's my goal, right? And so I hope that this video grabs you. It's exactly what you were looking for. It grabs a hold of your mind because you're like, wow, this makes total sense. It grabs a hold of your heart. You're like, yes, this is me, and this is what I want to do. I want to be a part of something special where I get to feel this, and then I get to share it with those around me, because that's how we change the world. And we're going to start by transforming yours. Okay? So anyway, thanks for listening. Share this video with everyone, because you don't know who's going to really need it. And a lot of times the people that need it most aren't saying anything. They're quietly suffering, and we need to change that. Okay? So thanks so much. I appreciate you. If you have any questions or you need something, just leave a comment or private message me, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. And make it a sure success. Bye.